you ever discovered a detail at a theme park and thought, there's gotta be a story behind that? Well, you've come to the right place. We're Amanda, Kevin, and Kim, the team behind Where in the Park, and we've spent years exploring theme parks and creating seek and find games that uncover the details that most people miss. And now we're diving into the history, stories, and secrets behind those magical details. So grab your curiosity, and maybe even a churro, and let's explore the parks together, one detail at a time. Welcome to the Where in the Park podcast. This is Amanda, and today we're diving into the history and evolution of the holiday season at SeaWorld San Diego. If you want the bigger picture backstory on SeaWorld's origins and how that park fits into the broader United Parks story, be sure to go back to our episode from August 15th, 2025, where we covered how Busch Gardens, Sesame Place, and SeaWorld are all united. Today, though, as we are recording this right in the middle of the holiday season, we'll look at how the holiday experience at SeaWorld San Diego has evolved over the decades and what traditions still live on. Before we get started, we want to remind you that this episode is brought to you by WhereInThePark.com. Get ready to explore even more of your favorite theme parks with our self-paced seek and find card games that highlight the details in the park's theming. Use promo code PODCAST10 to save 10% on your next adventure, including SeaWorld, Disney, Universal, and more. Check it out at WhereInThePark.com. Also, to see the photos of what we'll be covering in today's episode, check out our blog at WhereInThePark.com/podcast. Links to everything are in the show notes below. All right, so SeaWorld San Diego opened in 1964, and when you look at how theme parks celebrate the holidays, one of the first questions is always, when did holidays at the park become a thing? You know, when did we go from a park that happens to be open in December to an actual seasonal tradition? And here's the honest truth. We could not find reliable, detailed public documentation that clearly outlines what SeaWorld did for Christmas in the first few years of operation, or what internal discussions took place and with whom that led to a more formal holiday offering. And I'm saying all of that out loud because it matters. Some of these things just aren't well documented, and you know that we always state our sources in our blog articles that accompany the episodes, so when we don't have strong sourcing or when we find conflicting information, we have to call it like it is. As always, if you can fill in the gaps with any information like firsthand accounts or photos, you are welcome to share them with us over on our private Facebook group, Where in the Park Explorers. Anyway, one of the early additions to the park was the SkyTower, which opened in 1969. This 320-foot tower can be seen from miles around as you drive toward the park on any given day. But during the holidays, the tower is adorned with 24 strands of lights affixed to the top of the tower all the way down to the ground, becoming a tree of lights. What's interesting about the Tree of Lights is that there is a discrepancy as to when it was first installed. A number of sources online say that the first year was 1969, all quoting a 1973 CBS 8 video where they speak with Roger Copeland, a SeaWorld representative, who said, quote, "The tree has been a tradition in San Diego, and it's been around for the last 4 years now. However, in Chapter 12 of George Millet's biography by Tim O'Brien called The Wavemaker, the section, A Grand Old Tree, A Yearly Tradition, recounts the story of a conversation from George to Doc Lemon in 1971. Doc was the first general manager of Magic Mountain, which SeaWorld owned at the time as it was being constructed. Doc told George he wanted to string the lights from the top of the park's tower to make that top segment look like a Christmas tree. George liked the idea and then went to Bill Riley, who was the head fabricator, and Hank Koch, the head electrician, and Bill suggested just going all the way down to the ground with the lights. Again, those series of events were in 1971. 2 years after the initial reports from the other sources we found. In 1973, the U.S. faced a major energy crisis, and conservation became part of the national messaging. President Richard Nixon's public remarks on energy policy referenced eliminating unnecessary lighting, reflecting the era's push to reduce consumption. Locally, CBS 8's archival reporting that I alluded to earlier addressed concerns about the tree being lit during this time. Per Roger Copeland in the interview, SeaWorld was already going above and beyond the required 10% mandate to lower energy consumption by reducing the lighting to 50% capacity before the tree was installed. The park received feedback from the city to keep the tree up, even at reduced capacity and schedule. We'll be sure to link the interview in the references section of our blog at whereinthepark.com/podcast. Definitely check it out. In any case, we can say with certainty that today the Tree of Lights has become one of the park's holiday landmarks, enjoyed by millions both in the park and the surrounding Mission Bay area of San Diego. Another seasonal fan favorite in the early 1970s was SnowWorld, a mountain of snow in which guests could make snow angels or have a snowball fight in a location just a few miles from the Pacific Ocean. In referencing the Wave Maker again, and in that same chapter, Jan Schultz, who was Senior Vice President of Marketing at the time and later became President of SeaWorld San Diego in 1986, came up with the idea for SnowWorld and found a section of the park that had a 14-foot berm. 400 tons of snow was shipped in daily to create the snow mountain that Jan envisioned. While initially some thought that this idea was far-fetched, they quickly realized its potential when a mile-long line of kids in winter gear was eagerly waiting their turn in the snow. They even created an immersive experience with festive music and sold hot apple cider. There's a great photo on page 100 of the book that features Carlo Mosca, SeaWorld's first director of education, riding a sled during SnowWorld in 1972. The book ends this section here by stating, quote, "It became a yearly tradition at SeaWorld for more than a decade." Though the exact timeline of SnowWorld could not be definitively determined, nor why it was officially discontinued. After the early 1970s, the historical record becomes harder to verify in a clean, year-by-year way. That does not mean that SeaWorld stopped doing holiday programming. It means that detailed public documentation is not consistently available in the sources we can verify today. What we can trace with more confidence is the continuity of the park's holiday identity. Large-scale lighting, seasonal atmosphere, and a mix of entertainment and family-friendly experiences. By 2011, it became much easier to verify what SeaWorld San Diego's holiday season included because mainstream media outlets and tourism outlets began listing the seasonal components in greater detail. So the next piece of holiday news in our timeline comes from a CBS News article from December 2011 talking about, quote, "For the first time ever, SeaWorld has a huge park filled with real snow for families to build snowmen, dig caves, and have an old-fashioned snowball fight," end quote. That's right, SnowWorld had returned. But while it certainly wasn't for the first time ever, perhaps it was for the first time in a long while. But here again, we have questions. How long was it back for? Was it the same as in the 70s? Did they add anything new? We want to know. So again, if you have any information about this, definitely let us know on our Where in the Park Explorers Facebook group. In addition to SnowWorld, the coverage from the San Diego Tourism Authority during this time also lists multiple named shows and experiences, like Christmas Tales, which was a holiday-themed Pets Rule show. There was Breakfast with Shamu and Santa, which was a dining add-on experience. There was also the Shamu's Christmas Show, Clyde and Seymour's Night Before Christmas Show, and a Polar Express 4D experience. Speaking of Shamu, starting in 2014, Shamu's Christmas Show ran for only 2 years, when it was then switched to Shamu's Christmas Miracles, the latter of which was already a yearly tradition at SeaWorld Orlando and in San Antonio. The shows were discontinued in 2017 due to public pressure of the park's Orca program. Today, you'll find more educational-focused programming rather than theatrical performances. In 2015, a new show came to Mission Bay Theater called A Sesame Street Christmas, in which the character Abby learns through stories and songs about the celebrations and traditions of the Christmas season and discovers the true meaning of Christmas. In 2017, SeaWorld San Diego introduces an all-new live nativity musical, Oh Wondrous Night, the greatest story ever told, performed at the Nautilus Amphitheater. This production started in the Orlando location back in 2011 and continues on today. The show features more than 30 carols, storytelling puppets, and live animals as part of the performances to bring the Christmas story to life from a new point of view through the eyes of the animals. While the show is no longer at SeaWorld San Diego, you can still find them at SeaWorld Orlando and San Antonio during their holiday seasons. There are a number of YouTube videos available of the show over the years, but we highly recommend just going and checking it out in person if you are in the area. For the 2019 season, a new nighttime spectacular called Winter Wonderland on Ice came to the Nautilus Amphitheater, featuring skilled ice skaters performing amazing technical moves to classic holiday songs. This show debuted in SeaWorld Orlando in 2009 and has been a fan favorite year after year. From what we could gather, though, this show has only been at SeaWorld San Diego for just 1 year in 2019. By 2020, we start to see Christmas celebration of today start to take shape. Many media outlets covered the theme park industry, especially during this time, as they started to rev back up in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. During the Christmas festivities in 2020, SeaWorld describes the event as spread across more than 100 acres of outdoor space with a number of new experiences with entertainment, food, characters, and activities that still met the social distancing guidelines of the time. For example, there was the Rudolph's 4D movie experience that took place at the Orca Encounter Theater with their 140-foot screen featuring a retelling of the classic story, complete with wind, snow, and mist effects. There was also a character meet and greet after the show. The Dolphin and Sea Lion shows had a holiday overlay and theme. There was a Sesame Street Christmas Village meet and greet area. There was new Kwanzaa festivities, and there was a new stocking stuffer Christmas trail for the younger guests, and a new Christmas treasure hunt for explorers of all ages. A new number of offerings came in 2021 with Elmo's Christmas Wish, in which Cookie Monster, Rosita, Grover, and Zoe help Elmo find his Christmas wish. There was also a new tree lighting ceremony and a new twist to the Clyde and Seymour's Christmas special. 2022 saw a brand new O.P. Otter's Holiday Sing-Along at Mission Bay Theater, in which O.P. Otter sings and dances to classic Christmas tunes. Fast forward to what SeaWorld San Diego is highlighting right now. This year, the Christmas celebration is running daily from November 14th, 2025 through January 4th, 2026. Throughout the park, you'll find live entertainment, holiday food booths, seasonal zones, and of course, the SkyTower Tree of Lights. This year, the park is pulling out all the stops with new ways to surprise and delight guests while keeping with tradition and bringing back fan favorite offerings. For example, the park has significantly increased the number of lights used throughout the park. They introduced all new holiday entertainment options, including a new Clyde and Seymour's Christmas special, a new show called Toy Maker Trouble with Mrs. Claus and the Elves, and a new musical group called the Jingle Squad singing holiday tunes. Then we have returning shows like Happy Harbor Holiday at the Mission Bay Theater with fan favorite Sir Winston the Walrus. A Stocking Full of Soul is back at the Nautilus Amphitheater, and Kevin and I actually saw this the other day, and it was fantastic. We loved it. Also returning this season is Mrs. Claus's Christmas Parade with some new floats, Donner and Blitzen's laser light show at the front of the park, and of course, the tree lighting ceremony. Of course, what is the holidays without a visit to Santa's Village, where you can meet Santa, as well as meeting 2 of his reindeer near the front of the park. Over at Arctic Plaza, that's the area in front of the Penguins and Wild Arctic, that is currently the home to Holly Jolly Marketplace and Rudolph Christmas Town, complete with food and drink booths, Rudolph-themed photo ops, and special meet and greets. Both the SkyTower lawn, that's where Santa's Village is, and Arctic Plaza also have nightly snowfall. They also have what they call Snowflake Seekers, a Christmas quest, where you can go around the park finding snowflake icons, and then you mark them as found on your special map, and then you turn your completed map in for a prize. Now, this has been around for a few years now, but you know we love a good seek and find experience. So if you find yourself at the park this season, be sure to check it out. So that's the historical arc that we can document with confidence. A holiday identity anchored by the SkyTower Tree of Lights, shaped by broader cultural moments like the 1973 energy crisis, and gradually expanding into the multiple zones of Christmas celebrations that we know today. But there are still open questions that we are searching for solid answers on, like what did the holidays look like in those earliest years after opening? When did specific traditions formally begin? And when and why were some of them phased out? And that's exactly why we are so excited for our upcoming bonus episode with our interview with Tyler Carter, park president of SeaWorld San Diego. We'll chat about just what goes on behind the scenes to bring today's holiday celebrations to life and hopefully fill in some of those missing sections of the timeline. It's definitely an episode you won't want to miss. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on whatever player you're listening on right now so you get notified when the new episode drops. While you're there, be sure to scroll down and hit that 5-star button. And if you have 30 seconds to leave a written review, that would mean the world to us. We'll even read your review in an upcoming episode. If you have any details, stories, or photos from the holidays at SeaWorld over the years, we would love to check those out. Share with us on our private Facebook group, Where in the Park Explorers. You can also follow us at Where in the Park on your favorite social media channels, and of course, our email newsletter over at whereinthepark.com. While you're on our website, check out our Where in the Park games for SeaWorld San Diego, Orlando, Busch Gardens, and more, and use code podcast10 to take 10% off your next adventure. Until next time, we'll see you somewhere in the park. Bye for now. Thanks for exploring with us today. If you're ready to take your park experience to the next level, check out Where in the Park Games. They're self-paced, seek-and-find adventures designed for you to experience the park in a whole new way. Whether you're visiting for a birthday, a family gathering, date night, or even a solo trip, you'll be searching up high and down low for the details found in the park's theming. Get ready to discover a deeper appreciation for your favorite theme park with a Where in the Park game and take 10% off your next adventure by using code PODCAST10. Which park will you explore next? Until then, we'll see you somewhere in the park.